Hey everybody, welcome back to Doc's Autos, and today we are working on a new implement or attachment for our Bobcat. We're going to make a custom hitch for moving around both our fifth wheel camper, the horse trailer with gooseneck, and just anything standard with a bumper hitch on it with some standard 2-inch receivers. So go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button below if you like anything like this, or maybe you like some car content. In that case, like and subscribe anyway, and check out all of our other videos below with our multitude of projects going on that I have no time for. We've got the 72 Challenger here. We've got the 52 Chevy back here. Way back behind the boxes is a 75 Triumph Spitfire, which is yet to be started. But back to today's topic. We are going to build that attachment for the Bobcat. We've got a bunch of metal here from Cormark Metals up in Minneapolis. It used to be called Discount Steel a couple years ago. We also have a Bobcat attachment plate here to build everything on. And we're starting to get some more lighting. So I've got 4 of these things, LEDs, hoping to put 1, 2, 3 for sure. Maybe our 4th one will go back along our back wall with all of our parts. Anyways, the goal is to go ahead and get this tacked together, and then my skills of stick welding have not been leveraged since 7th grade. So we are going to see if I can do that again and watch all of you good welders laugh at me and remind me why I should have a career in grinding and not welding, when really my career is in IT. So that'll add up just fine, right? Yeah, it'll be fine. So we're gonna go ahead and figure out some of our dimensions and parts and get everything found. Welder's over there, it's gotta come over here. Also with all this fun electrical stuff here, also gonna have added in a 50 amp circuit for welder for 220. Right now I've just got the 110 on there. So once I get that added in, I also then need to find a longer welding extension cord, or confine my welding to that little area over there. Probably not going to be conducive to welding very much. Anyways, let's go ahead, stop yapping, and get our parts laid out and make something happen. Alrighty, well, I just remembered I've still got my thinner wire in there from working on cars, the 023 or whatever, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and throw my 30 or 35 on there and see if that helps out a little bit. Because I think for the amount of fill I've got here, even to tack, the 25 is just a little underwhelming for this. So let me go ahead and change wire out and remeasure this piece here, get it clamped in and tacked in place. Alrighty, so now I'm going to go ahead and measure, figure out where is center on here, so I can go ahead and get the receiver hitch tubes tacked in place as well. Alright guys, what's going on? For you, it's been the blink of an eye since we were working on this skid steer attachment, and for me it's been about 2 weeks. If you haven't noticed, we've got some more lighting in here. Great help, but also that brought with it a 50 amp service outlet for our welder. And doing a little bit of testing off camera, the 220 service 50 amps has been far better for this 1/4 inch steel than 110 was. So let's just go ahead and get back to getting everything welded up. We've got the supports on, or the receivers on, tacked in place, and we're ready to just go ahead and weld up the main frame with the 2 main support bars as well as the receivers, and keep moving forward on this project. Alrighty, well that was just wrapping up most of the frame here. A few little bits and ends to address, but by and large, the main part of the frame is done. The next part I'm going to work on once it's cool is marking out the length for the arms that come out of the receiver tubes, and that's going to be where our receiver for the kingpin and the gooseneck ball are going to sit. So let this cool down and we'll come back when it is all cool to the touch. Alrighty folks, we've gone ahead and gotten the base of our plate welded up here. You can see we've got, went over everything a second time, a little heavier duty welds, because after all, we're not working on old crap boxes. We're working on heavy duty Bobcat stuff, and we don't want it to break and our campers to fall. So our next thing we're going to do is put in some more support for these receiver tubes. And if you're looking at it, here's the top of the plate and here's the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and measure and put some 2-inch square tube in between here. And then this is going to all be gusseted off and braced in, so it is even more strong. And I may, if I have enough, run a section right in here too. So basically create a big square in here and gusset it, and that's not going to go anywhere. So we've got our tube over here. You can see it's, look at that, 2:30 in the afternoon, 92 degrees in here. Tim is not comfortable at all. So we made us be cutting this piece and waiting until the evening when it cools down, because I really have no desire to weld in 92-degree weather and actually be smart and not weld in short sleeves, because I got sunburned or weld burned, whatever you want to call it. Nothing like a nice healthy glow going into the fall season. Alrighty, we're back here. It is 20, 25 degrees cooler in here now. Much better. Of course, the sun's gone down, the kids are in bed. Relaxing. So now we have, does that trip over my cord? We have our center support here cut and measured and where we want it to be. I'm going to go ahead and take and tack it in a few places. Then we'll go ahead and run a bead around the whole thing. And after that much is done, I'm going to take the rest of this here and start to make my actual mount where the fifth wheel gooseneck will be, or the kingpin, and then where the ball for the gooseneck is going to sit. So we'll have to tip it up on end, kind of measure and figure things out where it's all going to go, because who knows. Alrighty, so we've gone ahead and welded that on. That looks pretty good. Actually looks pretty good. Yeah, happy with that. A lot better welds. So my goal is now I need to build, it's almost like a C that goes into both of those receiver tubes to manage to move both of these trailers around. And what I need to do is build it so when I hook up to the trailer, the force is all coming down on top of this bracket or this assembly as a whole versus on the side load. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So for example, the fifth wheel or the kingpin for the camper is going to slide into here when I pick it up. And I need to make sure when I weld up this C bracket that I'm putting the stress like this, so everything's pushing down on the entire assembly that we've created, versus like this, where we only have this one bit of area here for our support. So if I put it here and brace it, gusset it, whatnot, that's going to take a lot of effort to break that. In that case, no one's going to have a good day. So I'm going to let this cool down, then I can come back and take some measurements and go from there. Alrighty, I think I have a game plan. My original thought was I had both the giant hole for the kingpin, and then I was going to put another smaller one over here for the gooseneck ball to sit in. But my thinking, I'm going to take the gooseneck one, I'm going to slide it in here, and then my gooseneck ball goes inside of there, and I'm going to connect everything with a big 5-inch hitch pin. So that's going to lock everything in here. I don't have to worry about stuff falling out or off to the side, off center, and then I can taper this off a little bit. So when I've got just the fifth wheel kingpin receiver in here, I can just use that. Now, I know people are thinking typically your kingpin for your fifth wheel or whatever is an open and the pin goes in here and it closes around it. Well, those are expensive, and B, trying to attach those while in the Bobcat isn't going to work, and I'll show you why. It's because in order to catch the pin, I'm going to have to be up here with the arms, and that's going to prevent me from getting in and out of the cab. So unless I rigged up some hydraulic or electric thing or put a pull string in there, that's just not going to work. And I have seen some other DIY options, and they just have an open square tube around tube. And I opted for square tube and oversized it a little bit because it's got room to wiggle around here. Since this is going to be fixed, there's not going to be anywhere for it to pivot or anything like a standard fifth wheel would be. So being oversized gives us the ability to have some give in the tilting back and forth or rocking, because as we know, the leveler or the ground around here is far from level. So that's my take on what I'm going to do with it here, for right or wrong. You know, if I can find a fifth wheel thing down the road on Marketplace or something, maybe I'll go ahead and pick that up and try and rig something around. You know, everything can be ground off and cut off and started over. So we're just kind of starting with a need to get everything inside in the correct places for the winter. And this is our way to do it right now. Maybe I'll find something else down the road, like I said, but for right now, we're gonna go ahead and get this welded up around here. And this is gonna be our top of our C joint, or our C bracket that goes into the receiver tubes. So let's go ahead and tack it and weld it and be done. Alrighty, well, let me show you what we got here. So we got to the point of having this plate all done. This is cooled off enough to grab pretty much. Oh, so here's what we came up with for our plate where the fifth wheel or the kingpin is going to run into. And this is our base. And pretty much what's going to happen is I've cut this to start with, which is going to be our top part of the receiver or hitch, whatever you want to call it. That's going to slide in here. And this big ugly thing is going to weld on the end of here. And we're going to have another tube coming down, similar to this one here. And that's going to weld into this bottom one here that sticks out just the same. We're going to get all that stuff gusseted up as well. But for now, we need to let this finish cooling off and then mark our holes where we're going to drill for our gooseneck receiver. Need to drill holes in here for the pins, and that's going to have to come tomorrow because the drill is up at the house where, of course, people are sleeping. So we're going to work on making some patterns or some templates for the gusseting in here. And pretty much I'm just going to make some triangles. It's going to go in here, and brace that up. I'm going to put a triangle on the inside of here and then square off these here as well and get that all plated off. So I think that's going to add a bunch of structural integrity to the whole deal. So we're not just relying on these welds back here and these here. We've got these here, which is going to help guard against anything shifting and trying to pivot down and crack. So we will find some cardboard and make some templates. All right, gang, we've gone ahead and drilled our holes in the receiver for our little attachment doohickey thing here, the little C bracket to actually hold the fifth wheel receptacle, I guess you'd call it, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to go ahead and get that tacked in place, burned in, and move on to the next thing. It's been a few days. I've had a few little issues here. You'll see soon we had problems with the pickup. You can see right there, that's the intercooler. That should be in there. So long story short, driving back from camping with the family last weekend, it split. So we looked around and we're going to go with a new one from Summit Racing, and hopefully it should be here this week because we have yet another trip planned. But back to the task at hand, go ahead and tack this in. And this actually seats in the receiver tube here, and the fifth wheel gets mounted in there, or gets set in there when I move it. And then there's more of the C-channel bracketing that goes on here and gets welded in. So let's just go ahead and do it. All right, now this is tacked in place. I can go ahead and set it back in the receiver. I've got to adjust that hair more, but we're fine for right now. Now we are going to go ahead, when this is all said and done, go ahead and gusset this in more so it's not going anywhere. But we need to do another chunk of tube coming down and out, and yeah, well, let's see what we got. That'll work because I just need to measure this distance here. It looks like a little bit of play in there. We are at looks like 6 5/8 or just a little shy. So 6 9/16 is what we're looking at for a distance for this tube here. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that cut. Alrighty, We are lined up here, get this tacked in place. This stuff falls off my welding cart, which isn't big enough. All right, tacked in place, ready to go. Let's give it a whirl. All right, that was pretty easy. Now, this goes back in here, get this measured out, and we'll get that tacked in place as well. So I'm gonna go ahead. Somebody's here. Huh. All right. I think this is almost how long I want it to be, but I'm going to double check. Yep. Here's my hole. Go back another couple inches. Let her go there. Make my mark. I'll get that cut off. I'll come back when it's a little quieter.
6 hours later.
All right, folks, we've got our last couple pieces here tacked in place, and let me show you what I've got going on here. So I'd like to say I've got this 1/4 inch plate in here by design, but really it's because I, for some reason, measured twice and cut once, and I'm still short by 1/4 inch. Not sure how. Even the cutting blade wasn't a 1/4 inch thick, so who knows. Anyways, at the end, I think it's going to be better because it's going to give me a nice flat surface to weld this around and a good surface to weld this bottom around too, so I'm not trying to fill up a bunch of gap here and whatnot. So I think it's going to be good for me. Either way, it's not going anywhere, even if it looks a little garbagey. It's not going to go anywhere. So I'll get that welded in, get this welded in around the top here, and that's pretty much going to do it for our main structure. Then that's going to leave me the task of gusseting in here, front and rear, and then up here as well too. So I'll just make a bunch of triangle, square, whatever I want to, brackets to go ahead and gusset that in, and we're going to be about done. So let's just kind of fast forward through this here, this welding part, and then I'll come back once I've got the gussets cut up and tacked in. Alrighty, we've got stuff in the lens. Alrighty, we've got most of our gussets in place, probably about half of them actually. We're gonna go ahead and get the last few tacked in and then weld it in. See, we've got here, just again here, kind of every corner that I can easily get to. And eventually, after we get the camper parked for the winter and everything, I'm gonna come back and plate these in stronger from the side so it's not gonna shift side to side as easily. So, but for right now, I just need to get Mr. Camper into the shop and tucked up next to the horse trailer. Let me show you what I'm thinking. I'd like the back of the trailer to be kind of where the Bobcat is, with that much separation between the trailers. But with the pickup, only I've really got to come in here at an angle, and the side you can actually see the tire tracks here from the camper here and here, about where it gets slotted back. Just not enough space. It's got to come way over here. So if I can at least get most of the camper nosed in this direction, or tailed in here, and then use the Bobcat to kind of push it around the last little bit and straighten it up. That's my goal. And I think where this sits now, I can do it. I don't plan on pushing this around the driveway where it's all uneven. It's mainly going to be used in the shop here. And much better, of course, once we get the shop floor in. But that being said, I do want to end up plating in this stuff here over the winter. Just if I can get one good use out of it to get it in the shop, perfect. So let's go ahead and get these things welded in. Alrighty, we got those burned in, threw in a couple extra gussets. It's not pretty by any means. I didn't go into all the triangulation and engineering to, make it super strong. My use of excess materials and lots of welding hopefully will make it strong. So, oh, I forgot one weld here to go back and finish up. And then a good buddy of mine gave me a bunch of helpful tips and refreshers, since I really haven't done much welding in a long time. So thank you to that. Thank you for that, Jason. Now, that being said, I've got a ton of other stuff to fix behind me. Pickup is in parts, you see. Challenger, I got a lot of parts to put on in there. 52, I still want to get sandblasted before the snow flies. Even just a base coat of primer on it so I can pull it up and work on the body work over the winter. And whatever else comes my way. So for now, we're going to sign off, and thank you for watching. Again, if this was interesting or fun or something to poke at my horrible welding skills at, please hit that like button below. And if you'd like to see other videos of something I'm a little better at, like working on cars, go ahead and hit subscribe. Until the next video, keep doing what makes you happy, and we'll hopefully see you real soon. Bye-bye.